This is your Solent journalism update at 3:30. Coming up, we detail a new app designed to cut out food waste. We have an exclusive interview with a Paralympian who has made it onto the Power 100 list, and we analyse why Southampton is the second biggest reporter of hate crimes in the country. But first, your headlines. Facebook has been fined in relation to the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Saudi Arabia's public prosecutor says that the killing of journalist Khashoggi was a planned operation, and Sajid Javid has apologised today to people who were wrongly forced to take DNA tests to prove they were entitled to settle in the UK. Facebook has today been fined £500,000 for its role in the Cambridge Analytica scandal. The Information Commission's office said that Facebook has given app developers access to people's data without clear consent. The ICO found that more than 1 million people in the UK had their data harvested by the personality quiz. Hate crime reports in Southampton are on the rise, coming second only to Liverpool and rising by a third in the last year. Reporter Thomas Lewis went to investigate.
Southampton is the second worst city in the country for hate crimes, according to recent statistics. There has been a nearly 25% increase in number of reports in the last year alone. Local Community Mosque Trust member Zavia Ahmed tells us he's aware of the problem and warns of scaring off newer communities.
It's a large congregation of people from all over the world, like Africa, from Middle East and other countries. And our congregation is full of different people from different nationalities. And we try to make them aware of, obviously the laws and the hate crimes and things like that. But obviously the new communities that come and settle here, they probably are not aware of the problems, and they have to be, if they come across suddenly, then it can cause problems for them.
As one of the most multicultural cities in the country, Southampton has over 150 different languages being spoken, which means a large portion of the population could be experiencing these crimes in their everyday lives. Councillor David Shields tells us that the solution to this problem doesn't just lie with the authorities.
There's an issue here. It's a responsibility not just for the council, for the local police, but I think it's a responsibility we all need to take. Society as a whole, employers, civic society organisations, that we all need to say this isn't something we can accept, and this is something we can do something about, and where people who might be victims are confident they can go and speak to someone about that problem when they experience them.
The amount of reports being as high as it is has been looked on as a positive thing by many, who believe it shows people's trust in the system and a success in the increase of different methods of reporting hate crimes, such as the Citizens Advice Bureau. So if you experience or witness a hate crime, make sure it gets reported to one of the several available locations in the city.
A study by the British Lung Foundation has discovered that more than 2,000 hospitals are breaching WHO air pollution guidelines. The study found that a third of GP surgeries and a quarter of hospitals, including some of the biggest children's centres, are in areas that breach limits. Southampton is included in the list of medium-sized city with a large NHS trust in an area with unsafe levels of air pollution. It has been announced today that the department store group Debenhams has recorded a record annual loss, with 50 stores set to close, putting 4,000 jobs at risk. In the year prior to this, the company recorded losses of roughly £500,000 and suggested only 10 stores were to close. The company have so far not given a list of locations set to close, but the Debenhams in Southampton is at risk, with electronic retailers Maplin and Toys R Us closing their branches earlier this year. Local power athlete Aaron Phillips has been recognised on the national stage, thanks to being included in the Power 100's most influential disabled people of 2018. Juliet Sawyer went to find out more.
A local para-athlete to Southampton, Aaron Phibbs, has made it onto this year's Disability Power 100 list. Aaron, who competed in the 2012 Paralympics in the wheelchair rugby team, made it onto the annual list, which recognises the top 100 most influential disabled people in the UK.
I'm incredibly chuffed. Can't believe it. Even to be nominated is a privilege, but to make it, it's unreal.
A big congratulations to the local athlete.
Now, Donald Trump has taken aim at the media once again. This time, he's blaming the mainstream media for encouraging endless hostility towards those in the political sphere. This comes in response to pipe bombs being mailed to CNN, Obama, Hillary Clinton, and even Robert De Niro's restaurant and Joe Biden earlier this morning. A new app, Too Good To Go, is honing in on the food waste-conscious population by selling food that restaurants would usually throw out and retailing it for a third of the price. While it's been criticised for not offering enough variety, it's tackling the problem of food waste, as nearly a third of all food produced is wasted. Ollie Laurie went to find out how this works.
You're bored of eating the same meals week in and week out, and you'd fancy getting a bite to eat out, but struggling to justify paying a week's food shop for one meal and a few glasses of red. Well, how about eating the food you're craving from the restaurant you want for a third of the price, whilst also helping the environment? Sounds like a win-win, right? A new app is popping up all over Southampton and has caught the restaurant's eyes. Too Good To Go focuses on minimising food waste by selling the food restaurants would throw out for a cut price. Basically like the reduced section in your supermarket. Ryan Hart, a student from Southampton, has used the app 3 times this week alone, and he claims he's actually saved money on his weekly food shop.
So as a student, I tend to have pretty bland teas, whether it's sticking a frozen pizza in the oven or making a pasta dish. Either way, it has been the same for the last 3 years. Since I downloaded the app last week, I've used it a few times with my friends, and the amount of food you get for your money is fantastic. I usually have so much left over that I have it for lunch the next day, and I'm actually saving money using the app this week.
Many local, independently owned restaurants, cafes and coffee shops have been joined by large chain companies to join the app, mostly because of environmental factors, but also have a way of gaining a small profit from food otherwise thrown away. Megan, a waitress at a coffee shop just outside of Southampton, believes we should get used to becoming more resourceful with our food, with Brexit looming.
I've worked here for years and we've just joined the app. We used to throw so much food away and it was a real shame because I'd always wanted to give it to the less fortunate. We have a real problem both nationally and globally when it comes to food sustainability, with the obvious elephant in the room being Brexit. I think it's even more important to become more savvy and smarter with our food waste at the moment, as there will be the potential that eventually we will have less imported goods and more expensive food imports.
Food wastage isn't something we hear a lot about on the news. So how bad is the problem? Well, as Megan pointed towards, we currently waste 1/3 of the food we produce worldwide. But worryingly, 1 billion people go to bed each night starving. That's approximately the population of India. And surprisingly, food wastage ranks as the 3rd largest carbon footprint behind the US's and China's. I'm Oliver Laurie for Solent Journalism.
I'm Tato Palace, and that's all from us today. You can find all our stories and more at ssjournalism.co.uk.